I don't really care about the Oscars, but I do care about movies, and I see a lot of them. And YouTube sent me this creepy email basically admitting they'll boost my content if it's Oscar themed. I don't know what kind of shady backroom deal they've got with the Academy, but I'm gonna test this out anyways. So here's all the correct predictions for definitely every Oscar category, and this is financial advice. I'm a certified financial advisor, and all of my picks are guaranteed payout winnings on Kalshi or Robinhood or whatever's your AI gambling scam of choice. Okay, I'm going in order of this website. It's their official website. Is it the same order the awards are presented in? I don't know. I haven't watched the Oscars in like 10 years, since the old guy said the wrong movie for Best Picture. That was funny. Anyways, the nominees for leading actor are Timothée Chalamet, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ethan Hawke, Michael B. Jordan, Wagner Moura. I've seen 80% of these movies, so I've got some valuable opinions here. Tim is going to win for Marty Supreme, mostly because I thought his speech from a few months ago about caring really hard about winning awards was super funny.
I'm really in pursuit of greatness.
And they're gonna give him the award because you know he's gonna go up there and suck off the Academy and make it seem like a big prestigious deal. Who should actually win? Maybe Mike, since he did 2 roles in one. Although Tom Hardy did that in 2015, and he wasn't even nominated for that shit. Leo won one for that bear movie, right? The Revenant? I mean, that was a decade ago now. Maybe 1 Oscar per decade will be Leo's thing. He was pretty damn good in One Battle After Another. Like that part where he's about to go down the trapdoor, and he's like, Viva Life or something. Good performance. Timmy's gonna win though. And to be quite honest, he kinda deserves it. Unless Ethan Hawke was doing prime Daniel Day-Lewis work in Blue Moon, then Timmy's gonna win. He's in, I think, every scene of Marty Supreme, and I've always thought the hype for Timmy was deserved. Honestly, even a little underrated. He's never had a bad performance. Little Women, he was great. The King, that's one of my favorite movies ever. You guys should watch The King. You can't even buy it on physical disc because Netflix is stupid and only lets you watch on their shitty low bitrate streaming website. Even that depressing-ass Wonka movie, he was acting his little butt off. Supporting actor. Has to be Benicio del Toro, right? Kinda created a new subgenre of sidekick character in One Battle After Another. I mean, Sean Penn was also extraordinarily good, but I think del Toro was just slightly more interesting. Wouldn't mind if either of them won. And Skarsgård was kinda just doing Skarsgård things. Understated. Lots of acting in the face and the eyes. It was a much different role than Penn and del Toro. Like, he's probably the finest actor of the 3, the best thespian. But something about Sensei in One Battle After Another just speaks to me. Leading actress. I haven't seen Kate Hudson's or Rose Byrne's movies yet. Probably won't see Song Song Blue because I don't really care. But I've heard great things about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Also, I love Conan, so I'll watch it later, I guess. Emma Stone's always good, but wasn't anything crazy special in Bugonia, right? I mean, she was good, but Renata Reinsva does these really quiet roles, different than Stone's CEO lady from Bugonia and Jessie Buckley's role as Shakespeare's wife. I think I just liked Reinsva's performance more. Buckley is obviously good, but maybe you're gonna throw tomatoes at me for this. I thought her performance in Hamnet was a teensy bit overrated. Like that scene at the theater, she's making the same expression a lot, and I've kinda got the impression that, on set, she was thinking about the Oscar even when they were filming. That's the whole vibe I got from that entire movie. Supporting actress. I did not see Weapons, and Teyana Taylor was pretty good in One Battle After Another, but she kinda wasn't in the movie that much. I know it's supporting actress, but she just dips like an hour in, so I don't know. I was personally very transfixed by Inga Ibstrader Lilias, and I think she'll actually win. I don't think Teyana Taylor will win, because her performance was sort of the worst thing about One Battle After Another. And she wasn't even bad per se, it just was not a standout whatsoever. So I'd vote for Inga. Very understated role in a very quiet movie, and her performance is probably going a bit more under the radar. She was able to convey this whole history of a relationship between her and her sister, and her and their dad, even though there's kind of minimal expository dialogue for those relationships. She was able to convey the relationships with just kind of her emotions and acting. I think I sympathize with her the most in that movie, and I'd just like to see her win. Can't really go wrong with any of these nominees though. Well, except Teyana Taylor. The movie got so much better when her part was over. Although again, I didn't see weapons. Maybe this Amy Madigan fella was doing prime Meryl Streep type work. I don't really care. I'm an Inga head. Animated feature. I shan't lie, I've watched 0 out of these 5 movies. Give the Oscar to Little Amelie, because the title reminds me of that French movie Amelie, and I enjoy that one quite a bit. Animated short. Come on, you know I didn't see these. Give the Oscar to Forever Green, because I loved animated bears. I just want to hug this guy. Casting. Nina Gold is famous as hell. She's the only casting director I actually know by name. She's the one who cast Game of Thrones, basically discovered all those extremely talented child actors, which is a huge plus in my eyes, because child actors are always the worst part of any movie for me. But when they're good, it's like surprisingly good. And all those little kids in Game of Thrones, Sophie Turner, Isaac, whatever his name was, fantastic casting. The kid in Hamnet was pretty good, all the kids actually. I think the daughter was actually the better performance, but I appreciate child labor in all forms. The Marty Supreme casting director is tough to judge, because I don't know how many of those freaks this Jennifer Venditti found, versus characters from New York who Josh Safdie already knew. He's always doing that. He's always just casting weirdos who he knows personally in real life to be actors in his movie. I imagine Venditti was responsible for the bulk of it. Like, was it her idea to cast Penn from Penn and Teller? Anyways, they should probably just give it to Nina Gold, sort of a Lifetime Achievement Award. Cinematography. Alright, now we're in a place where my opinion can actually be a teensy bit informed, because I have seen these. The wackiest, most technically impressive cinematography has to be Sinners, especially that anachronistic dance room sequence, but that whole movie is shot beautifully. Train Dreams, I think, is overall the prettier looking movie, but part of that is the locations they shot in are just naturally gorgeous up in the Pacific Northwest. So I don't know how much credit to give Adolfo Veloso versus just nature for looking like that. I also really like that driving chase scene in One Battle After Another, where the camera looks like it's bobbing up and down to the curve of the road. Give the Oscar to Train Dreams, I think. Costume design. The costumes for Hamnet got nominated? They were kinda just bland, no? Maybe that's the point, how period accurate they were? But Agnes was wearing that red dress for the entire movie, which is several years in universe. Maybe there was some thematic point to that, but Marty Supreme's fit with the 1950s suit and the glasses is probably the most iconic on this list. Although Jacob Elordi's Frankenstein look is so well done, it might be the new standard Frankenstein when you think about Frankenstein. And by Frankenstein, I mean the monster. I'm not stupid. I'm just imperfect and sometimes refer to Frankenstein's monster as Frankenstein. I don't know. I didn't see Avatar, and I don't really care about animated blue people. Give the Oscar to Frankenstein, I guess. Mia Goth's dresses were really cool in that movie. Best Director. I think we can narrow Best Director down to Ryan Coogler for Sinners and PTA for OBAA, with Chloe Zhao as a dark horse. Although she just won a few years ago, didn't she? For Nomadland? Neither of these two have won Best Director Oscar before. I don't know. I guess the stage direction and blocking and camera movement were all really impressive during the climax of Sinners, but I'm giving the win to PTA. Every scene in that movie looks so good. Even a simple scene like Sean Penn bringing those flowers to Teyana Taylor's door, it looks gorgeous. And the entire sequence of Leo escaping on the rooftops, the choice of where the color goes and where the darkness goes, that little Wes Anderson moment where Sensei goes into the trap door and the rug fully rolls out to cover it up, I love that. Documentary feature and short. Yeah, I've seen none of these. Give documentary feature to Cutting Through Rocks, because it's about a lady in Iran riding motorcycles and running for city councilor or something. Sounds pretty badass. And give documentary short to Perfectly a Strangeness. According to Wikipedia, it's about donkeys in a desert looking at the stars. I don't know what this could possibly mean, but I might actually watch this one. Film editing. I'll admit my own ignorance here and tell you I don't really understand what all gets factored into best film editing. Back when that Bohemian Rhapsody movie won best editing, despite me thinking it had noticeably bad editing, I've just been confused ever since. Sentimental Value has that great editing choice at the end, where, for a couple of seconds, if you're slow like me, you think what's happening is real, until the reveal that it's just on set of Stellan Skarsgård's movie. Although, is that editing or is that cinematography? Or just direction? Give the Oscar to One Battle After Another. That feels safe. It's a pretty long movie too, and I don't remember feeling bored or like any section was dragging on too long. And it does a good job of cutting between different characters and locations to show simultaneous action. This one's gonna win. International Feature. I fucked up here. I've only seen 2 of these, The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value. I was going to watch It Was Just an Accident, but then I forgot. I did enjoy Sentimental Value more than The Secret Agent, but both are good. I guess I'll discuss them more in depth for Best Picture. But for my own stupidity, give the Oscar to It Was Just an Accident. I will be watching that very soon. Live action short. Ain't seen none of this. Give the Oscar to A Friend of Dorothy, because I'm a sucker for stories about old people becoming friends with young people. Like Up. Makeup and hair. I have only seen 3 of these. Part of me wants to say The Smashing Machine, cause The Rock looks very different than normal, but it's gotta be Frankenstein, right? For obvious reasons. The monster's makeup and Oscar Isaac's hair. Music. Original score I think should be One Battle After Another. That's the Radiohead guy who did that one. Did you know he was doing film scores? He did Phantom Thread, a bunch of PTA stuff. Damn. Wait, that music was kind of the main point of Sinners. Except for the racism, I guess. So maybe Sinners will win? Give Sinners original song too. Or that K-pop one. That got massively popular. To be honest, I don't really care about this category. Sorry. Best Picture. I do care about this one. I've watched all the nominees except for F1. I watched like the first roughly 20 minutes of F1 and felt like I got the entire gist, so I turned it off. Super stock. Just a standard, feel-good, popcorn action movie. Nothing about it seems Best Picture worthy. Is it a prank that it's being nominated? I don't really understand why it's nominated. The dialogue is bland and cheesy. I imagine this movie scratches the same itch for 40-plus aged dads who also loved Top Gun Maverick and who go to every single Fast and Furious movie in theaters. Bugonia was a really fun and interesting movie, but the only award I thought it might get was Jesse Plemons, but he wasn't even nominated. The alien stuff was pretty awesome, although a little predictable. I feel like Bugonia put itself into this pickle. Either Emma Stone really isn't an alien, in which case that's boring and just kind of sad, or she is an alien, which was the most predictable outcome that you kind of had to choose because you're Yorgos Lanthimos. I do appreciate seeing bad things happen to CEOs, I guess. Frankenstein's not winning Best Picture, but I thought it was visually quite stunning. Mia Goth and Jacob Elordi were the finest performances I thought, although Oscar Isaac wasn't bad. Obviously, he's never bad. Have you guys seen, by the way, that early A24 movie, A Most Violent Year? Oscar Isaac is fantastic in that. His wife is Jessica Chastain, I think. Great movie. Also, one of the guys in it who works for Oscar Isaac played one of Daenerys' Dothraki guards in Game of Thrones. I forget which one he played. Was it Ricaro? I think he played Ricaro. Anywho. Frankenstein's a great movie, but it's just not winning Best Picture. Also, I haven't read the book, so I can't really judge it based on how accurate or respectful it was towards Shelley's writing. I heard that maybe it made some big changes or omissions, but I don't know about any of that. The Secret Agent was a movie I think I enjoyed a little bit more than most, and the main criticism was that it dragged on for too long, and could have been like 45 minutes shorter. But to be honest, I didn't even notice the length. My issue was the ending. It felt unsatisfying that they were setting up this revenge-oriented ending where Armando was going to face off against the old racist guy who was trying to kill him, but instead the movie just flashes forward in time to the plot device of Armando's kid being a doctor now in present day, and revealing through like this news image that Armando really did just get assassinated off screen. I thought that was lame, but maybe the point of the movie was how sometimes the bad guys really do just win. Train Dreams is the movie I loved, but it's not gonna win Best Picture. The sequence in the airplane is what everyone's talking about, but it was probably my favorite as well, showing how time is passing and the world is changing, but Joel Edgerton hasn't been noticing because he's still so depressed about losing his wife and kid. My only detraction is that I wish the main character had a little more something to him, and wasn't as bland and passive as he is. I do love Joel Edgerton though. I was super excited to see a movie where he's a leading actor. He had a small role in probably my favorite movie, The Green Knight. He plays the lord of that castle, and he kisses Dev Patel on the lips. Great flick. Hamnet could win Best Picture, but I'm a doubter. It's a technically very fine movie with great performances, but it was a little too in your face with the emotional stuff. Felt like it was trying to tell me to start crying, rather than doing something interesting and sad enough to make me cry-worthy. I'm not very good with words, but the bulk of the movie felt very gestural and overwhelming in a sort of insincere way. Didn't feel real enough to me. Also, Agnes was boring and had an unsatisfying arc. By the end, I thought she was just kind of lame. And Shakespeare himself wasn't around his kid enough for me to believe his improvisation of to be or not to be while looking at the water actually came from grief over the kid's death. That felt sort of unearned. Sentimental Value is not going to win Best Picture, even though I did enjoy it more than Hamnet. I've realized the past year or two that I am very into Nordic cinema. If you haven't watched The Emigrants and The New Land with Max von Sydow and Liv Ullmann, those are fantastic. This isn't the point, but I've also been getting into Bergman, and I quite enjoyed Through a Glass Darkly. Very creepy. Anyways, I love this movie too. I only wish we got a little bit deeper into what specifically the rift was between Stellan Skarsgård and Renate Reinsva's characters, and could have explored their issues a little bit more. I'll talk about Marty Supreme next because I think it's third most likely to win. It's a great movie, although the recent Safdie drama might dissuade voters. I don't know if that sort of stuff matters to the Academy. If Marty wins anything, it'll be Timmy for Best Actor. I just don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's really exhilarating, and maybe my favorite movie of the year, but I think either Sinners or One Battle After Another just have the better odds. I think this movie does a great job of being earnestly emotional, rather than telling you to be emotional, sort of like Hamnet does. Marty Supreme really earns that outburst of Timmy's crying at the end, since the entire movie is just this quickly paced mayhem, like all of Safdie's previous work, and then juxtaposed with reality hitting Marty Mauser like a brick. I love that. I guess Sinners is second most likely to win, although I could see it winning. It's a great, fun movie, a great vampire movie, although maybe not all that profound of a discussion on racism in America, but also I'm not sure it was trying to be anything more than it was. I think that was a label a ton of people were throwing on it before I saw it, and my impression was just, wow, it's a really good vampire movie. The race element is more of a interesting plot device, rather than an overarching theme of the entire narrative. Also, I was really annoyed that the two Indian men on horseback from the beginning didn't turn into important characters related to hunting down vampires. I would have liked the movie focused on them maybe, but you're not supposed to judge a movie on what you wished it was gonna be. You're supposed to judge a movie based on what it actually was. I think it's a pretty standard opinion that whatever movie wins Best Director probably wins Best Picture too. Not always, but sometimes. So based on that, I think One Battle After Another is winning Best Picture. Which is fine with me, since there's really nothing wrong with it. I didn't love it quite as much as Marty Supreme, or even Train Dreams and Sentimental Value, but I did really love it. I understood it to mean that revolutionaries sometimes think they're a bigger deal than they actually are, and that the real revolutionary is a guy like Sensei, who's running a family business and is actually helping people on a tangible level that's filled with love, not violence. Production design. Production design could be any of these except for Hamnet. I'll say Sinners though, just because it's gotta win something, and it won't be lead actor, director, or best picture. And the look and all the aesthetics of Sinners is the most memorable part for me anyways, so this is a good fit. Sound. Sound is probably Sinners too, actually. The way the folk songs sounded like kind of eerie in a silent vacuum, juxtaposed with the louder dance music inside the barn, that went crazy. Also, the climax was sick as hell, with the electric score and the burning noises and stuff. That, to me, is cinema. Visual effects. I don't know. Throw James Cameron a bone so he'll keep making those billion-dollar Avatar movies. He can win Best Visual Effects. I'm sure the CGI is crazy. The whole thing is basically animated, isn't it? I don't really care. Adapted screenplay. Wait, One Battle After Another is adapted? From what? Well, I guess I have Google, I can just look it up here. Vineland by Thomas Pynchon. It's about Reagan and fascism and Nixon. Huh. Seems cool. Although this has gotta be the most original adapted screenplay ever. Hardly any of this fits One Battle After Another. Whatever. Maybe I've gotta read the book. I guess One Battle will win, but I'd kinda like to see Train Dreams win. Hard for me to give a real judgment here though, having not read any of the source material for any of these. Original screenplay. From the 3 out of 5 of these I saw, I'd give the Oscar to Sentimental Value. The dialogue is just really damn good. particularly the conversations between Renata and Inga, and also anything with Stellan Skarsgård. Alright, those are my totally accurate 2026 Oscars predictions. I'd be interested if you guys have seen a lot of these and have any different opinions than me. Let me know what you guys think will win Best Picture and Best Performances and stuff. I'll go back to making A Song of Ice and Fire videos pretty soon here. Alright, thanks for watching. Goodbye.